Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya cha
Devaki Nandanaya cha
Nanda Gopa Kumaraya
Nanda Gopa Kumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha
Govindaya Namo Namaha
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Reading from Srimad
Satam vivakṣantam atadvidam hari
Satam vivakshantam matidam vivadhari
Gyatva sarvasya charidyavastita
Yatasya saryasya sadavitita
Kritanjalim brahmamayena kambuna
Kritanjalim brahmamaye kambuna
Pasparsha balam kripaya kapole
Kaspasabalam kripaya kapole Satam vivakshantam atadam vidam hari
Satam vivakṣantam atadvidam hari
Jnatasya sarvasya cha hridi avastita
Gyatva sarvasya charidyavastita
Kritanjalim brahmayena kambuna
Kritanjalim brahmamayena kambuna
Pasparshabalam kripaya kapole
Pasparshabalam
kripaya kapole
Satatam vivakshantam atadvidam hari
Yatvasya sarvasya cha hridayavastitaha
Yatvasya sarvasya cha hridayavastita
Kritanjalim brahmayena kambuna
Kritanjalim brahmayena kambuna
Pasparshabalam kripaya kapole
Saha,
Saha,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Tam,
Tam,
Druva Maharaj.
Dhruva Maharaj,
Vivakshantam,
Vivakshantam,
wanting to offer prayers,
wanting to offer prayers,
describing his qualities.
describing his qualities.
Atat Vidam,
Atat Vidam,
not experienced at that.
not experienced at that.
Hari,
Hari,
the personality of Godhead.
the personality of Godhead.
Gyatva,
Yatva,
having understood.
having understood.
Asya,
Asya,
of Druva Maharaj.
of Dhruva Maharaj.
Sarvasya,
Sarvasya,
of everyone.
of everyone.
Cha,
And
Ridhi,
Ridhi,
in the heart.
in the heart.
Avasthita,
Avasthita,
being situated.
being situated.
Krita Anjalim,
Krita Anjalim,
situated with folded hands.
situated with folded hands.
Brahma Mayena,
Brahmamayena,
just consistent
just consistent
with the words,
with the words
of the Vedic hymn.
of the Vedic hymns.
Kambuna,
Kambuna,
with his concha.
with his conscience.
Vasparsha,
Prasparsha,
touched.
touched.
Balam,
Balam,
the boy.
boy.
Kripaya,
Kripaya,
out of causeless mercy.
out of causeless mercy.
Kapole,
Kapole,
on the forehead.
on the forehead.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Although Dhruva Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in suitable language. But because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Dhruva Maharaj's awkward position. Out of his causeless mercy, he touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruva Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. Purport. Every devotee wants to chant the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Devotees are always interested in hearing about the Lord's transcendental qualities and they are always eager to glorify these qualities. But sometimes they feel inconvenienced by humbleness. The personality of Godhead being situated in everyone's heart specifically gives the devotee intelligence to describe him. It is therefore understood that when a devotee writes or speaks about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his words are dictated by the Lord from within. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. To those who constantly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord from within dictates what to do next in order to serve him. When Druva Maharaj felt hesitant, not knowing how to describe the Lord for want of sufficient experience, the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, touched his conch shell to Dhruva's forehead, and he was transcendentally inspired. This transcendental inspiration is called Brahmamaya, because when one is thus inspired, the sound he produces exactly corresponds to the sound vibration of the Vedas. This is not the ordinary sound vibration of this material world. Therefore, the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna mantra, although presented in the ordinary alphabet, should not be taken as mundane or material. Omagyanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Aradhya Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Vakalpita. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamavalam Prema Pumartho Maham Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradarana Para. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanatha Swami Niti Namine. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desharane. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Satam Vivakshantam Atadvidam Hari Yadvasya Sarvasya Charityavasthita Kritanjalim Brahmamayena Kambuna Kasparshabalam Kripaya Kapole. Although Druva Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in suitable language. But because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Druva Maharaj's awkward position. Out of his causeless mercy, he touched his conch shell to the forehead of Druva Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. So here it describes about how Druva Maharaj, he follows the instructions of Narad Muni, and he performs his penances, and now the Lord is present in front of him. He was meditating on the four-handed Vishnu form of the Lord, and suddenly that form disappeared. And when he opened his eyes, because the form disappeared, he opened his eyes, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu himself right there. We'll tell what happened before that, but when he came, he became very agitated. Before this, he says, when Druva Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, He was greatly agitated and offered him obeisances and respect. He fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in love of Godhead. So he saw the Supreme Lord, he became agitated, and then he paid obeisances. Druva Maharaj in ecstasy looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth and embracing the Lord with his arms. So he immediately paid obeisances, he kissed his lotus feet, he looked up to him, he was drinking the nectar of his darshan, and then he embraced him. Imagine what great glory he has, what fortune. But then he wanted to offer some prayers. That was his desire, but he didn't know how to do it. 5-year-old boy, they can't even speak properly. They don't have the vocabulary, they don't have the words, but they have the desire to communicate something. And that's when Krishna understood, Vishnu understood, and with his conch shell, he has Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Right? So with his Shankha, he placed it on his head, lotus head, in his forehead, and suddenly all the prayers started coming out. And after this, he speaks all glorious prayers. And it is not mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, but in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is explained that the first words that came out of his mouth, although that's not given in the next verse here, but in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says, the verse starts with Sthana Bhilashita Tapasi Sthitoham Tvam Praptavan Deva Munindra Guhyam Kacham Vichanvanam Api Divya Ratnam Swamin Kritarthosmi Varam Nayache. He spoke the prayers and he said, Sthana Bhilashita Tapasi Sthitoham. I had come here, I had performed this tapasya for sthana, for position. What had he prayed for?
Brahma is greater than Brahma.
Yeah, greater than Brahma, and he wanted his father's kingdom also. So he wanted a position greater than Brahma. That was his desire. He wanted a specific position. That's the only thing he did the prayer for. Sthana vilashita tapasi sthitoham tvam prapta vandeva munindra guhyam. But what I have received your darshan. Tvam prapta, I have received you. Vandeva munindra guhyam, which is guhya, which is very, very secret and very, very difficult even for Deva and Muni. Tvam prapta vandeva munindra guhyam. Kacham vichanvanam api divya ratnam. I was looking, it seems to me like I was looking for broken pieces of glass. Kacham vichanvanam api divya ratnam. But I have received divya ratnam, transcendental jewel. Imagine something breaks, we are looking for broken pieces of glass and suddenly find a jewel. So you are saying my desire to get this position, material position and respect and all of that was like broken pieces of glass which resemble like jewels, which resembles like it will give me happiness, but it won't. What will give me happiness? What has actually given me happiness now is your darshan. Tvam prapta vandeva munindra guhyam. And I've got this golden jewel, this divya ratnam, transcendental jewel. Swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. That, oh my Lord, I'm completely satisfied, I'm very grateful, kritartha. I'm very grateful to you, I'm completely satisfied. Varam nayache. I don't have any desire. I'm not, now I started with desire. After having your darshan, I have no desire. So, this, in one sense, people ask that why is Druva Maharaj's pastime given in Srimad Bhagavatam? Because Srimad Bhagavatam is like the Guinness Book of World Records for pure devotional service. Only if you are in the pure devotional service category, there are so many great feats that so many people have done over the eternity. But only those have been selected and given here which give the highest standard of pure devotional service. All the other, anything which is even mixed devotional service is not mentioned here, or not supposed to be mentioned. So why Druva Maharaj's pastime is given here? He started with purely material desire. In fact, in between when he when he is coming to the forest, his initially, I think everyone knows the pastime a little bit, right? That Druva Maharaj wanted to get on the lap of his father. His father's name was King Uttanapada. And he wanted to get on his lap, but his stepmother, Suruchi, she said, no, unless you cannot step on the lap of your father, for that you have to come from my womb. Your disqualification is that you did not take birth from my womb. And the king also, he just shrugged his shoulders. And the poor boy, he was very broken-hearted. And he went back to his mother. And his mother said, yeah, that's correct. I'm very sorry. And he said, I want kingdom which is greater than my father. And who can give me? So she said, well, only the Supreme Lord can give. Otherwise, no one else can give. So he said, where can I find him? I don't know. I've heard that people go to the forest to find him, but I don't know more than that. So he said, all right, I'll go to the forest. And he just immediately ran to the forest to find the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. He doesn't know where, he doesn't know why, but he's determined. He wants to find the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we are determined, then we will get it. Whatever we put our focus on, Krishna makes sure, first he'll test whether we are really serious. And if Krishna is convinced that we are really, really serious, Krishna will give it. So he just wanted, it was a 5-year-old boy, he wanted a toy, he wanted this. It was like a toy for him, but he wanted it. So he meets Narada Muni in between. And Narada Muni says, why are you're just such a small boy, why are you roaming around in the forest? He said, no, this happened and I want the kingdom greater than my father, of Brahma. So he said, he actually tries to discourage him. He said, you're just a small boy, go play, why are you getting into all this transcendental, getting darshan of the Lord and all of these things. He said, it's not very easy. After trying this process for many, many births and remaining unattached to material contamination, many mystic yogis were still unable to find the Lord. You're just a small boy. For this reason, my dear boy, you should not endeavor. It will not be successful. Directly he says. He tells it will not be successful. Don't worry. Don't bother about it. Better you go home. When you've grown up by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance to do this. At that time you do. When you grow up. So, and then he also said one should try to keep himself satisfied in any condition of life. Don't get so disturbed by all this. All this happens. He was trying to console him also because he understood that his heart is broken. So he was saying go, but he's also saying don't worry about all these things. It will happen. But then Druva Maharaj, he said, my dear Lord Narad Ji, for a person whose heart is disturbed by material condition of happiness and distress, they can listen to you. But I am not disturbed by this material happiness distress. I have everything. As far as I am concerned, I am covered by ignorance. He is very frank. I am covered by ignorance, and this kind of philosophy does not touch my heart. This is in the Bhagavatam he is saying. It's not, I am not paraphrasing. Bhagavata Sukha Dukkha. Yeah. So then he says, I am very impudent for not accepting your instructions. Directly he says, I don't accept your instructions. You ask me to go back. I'm not going back, but it's not my fault. That also he says. I won't accept, and it's not my fault. It is due to my being in the Kshatriya family. Now my stepmother Suruchi has pierced my heart. So your valuable instruction, I understand it is valuable, but it does not stand in my heart. I am very much hurt. Don't talk to me like this. Directly he's saying. There's no pretension, no, offering obeisances or something. He's a small boy, he can get away with it. That's why if you see in Bhagavatam, many of the instructive stories are by children. Can you suggest some who are in Bhagavatam, children who give instructions like this?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj, he's 5 years old. Druva Maharaj, 5 years old.
When Hiranyakashipu's brothers, like Hiranyaksha was dead, then Yamaraj came as a child and then he instructed.
Yes, Yamaraj as a child. There is also Shukadeva Goswami himself is actually a child. He's 16-year-old boy. He's the youngest among all these people, all the sages who were there. It's a 16-year-old boy who is speaking. And then there was also about, there was a boy who was brought back, and then he says, who is my father? What was the, Harsha Shoka was the name of the boy. There was this king, I forget his name, but he was very sad, and Narad Muni came along with Parvat Muni, and he said, why are you sad? He said, because I don't have a son. I have so many wives, but I can't have a son. So they said, okay, take this mango. This mango is a special mango. You give it to your wife, and then, so he gave the mango, and then they got a son, and other wives got envious that, oh, how this wife has got son, that means the king will give affection just to this wife. And as the son was growing, actually Narad Muni warned that, look, you don't have a son, you don't have children, it's good in one sense. From Narad Muni's point of view, he was saying you can fully dedicate your life to service of the Lord. He said, no, there is no wife, and there is no heir, there is no inheritance. Who will be the king? He said, okay, I'll give you a way in which you can get a son, but he will give you a lot of happiness, but he'll also give you sadness. He said, okay, sons are like that. They will give happiness, and then sometimes they become, they grow, and then they may give sadness. Everywhere it happens. So what's the big deal? It's okay. So when he was born, he gave a lot of happiness, and Narad Muni came, and he told Narad Muni, please name this boy. Narad Muni named him Harsha Shoka. Means he'll give a lot of happiness, and Shoka, he'll give a lot of lamentation also. So he named him Harsha Shoka, and this king, he ignored it. But then after that, he would just call him Harsha as a short name. But then the other queens, they made a plot, and they put poison in the food of this child. And he was just 1 year old or something, and he left his body. And the king was devastated. Gave him shoka at this point. So he was crying. That's when again Narad Muni, Parvat Muni came. He said, what happened? He said, now this boy died. He didn't even become king. What's the whole point? Now I'm in much more misery than I was before. Please bring this boy back. And Narad Muni said, don't worry, this boy, he's a soul who came, he had his karma, he just left now, let him go, he fulfilled his karma. He said, no, please, I want this boy back. So Narad Muni says, okay, his heart is very soft. So he did some mantras and he brought this boy's soul back. And the boy just opened his eyes, he started looking here and there. He said, where am I? And then the king said, you are in your home, you're back. He's hugging him, he's crying, all these things. He's saying, who are you? I'm your father. Father? Which father? When I was in the dog's body, I had a father. When I was in the cat's body, I had a father. When I was in the human body as a girl, I had a father. Now as a boy, which father? There was a key. Which father you are? So what do you mean which father? I'm the only father. How many fathers do you have? So he said, no, I was going back home, back to Godhead. And I was so happy, so blissful. And suddenly a force pulled me back into this body. And when I was going, I was able to remember all my lives. But I'm confused now. Which father are you? You're saying father. And why did you bring me back? I was so happy going there. And anyway, Narad Muni then said, see, what did you do now to this boy? But anyway, the boy remained and then he grew up, but he was already self-realized. He had seen everything. He was completely detached. So there was instruction from this boy also in Srimad Bhagavatam. So in many cases, because when children give instruction, our ego is not so hurt. We're like, oh, so cute. But if a man, if someone else, especially our contemporary, gives some instruction, we're like, what do you mean? Who are you to tell me all these things? Or, we don't, if an very elderly person gives, then also we can accept it. Okay, it's fine. Or if a very young boy also says, we can accept it. Anyone in between, the ego comes in. So Bhagavatam understands. It always gives instruction in the form of boy. Oh boy, so cute. Like that. Then we don't feel bad. So like that, Druva Maharaj directly told Narad Muni, I don't care for your instructions. And Narad Muni didn't mind. He said, oh, he's a young boy, what to do? And but he was saying, if you have any answer to my question, if you can guide me, help me in what I want to do, then we can talk. Otherwise, Hare Krishna. Directly he said, I want to occupy a position more exalted than any yet achieved within the three worlds by anyone, even my father or grandfather. If you will oblige, then tell me an honest path. And then in this way, then Narad Muni then understood this boy is very, very determined. And actually, Prabhupada says that when he says that I cannot follow your instruction, he said this is Kshatriya spirit. There is Brahmana spirit, Kshatriya spirit, Vaishya spirit and Shudra spirit. So in the old times, whenever a boy was born or a child was born, the guru would, when he would go to the ashram in Gurukul, the guru would try to understand what is the propensity of the boy. Is it Brahmana propensity, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra propensity? Based on their propensity, they would train them accordingly. The Brahmana propensity, they would train as Brahmana. Not one size fits all. Today's education is, everyone has the same syllabus. Whatever your propensity. Everyone is trained to be a lawyer and a doctor here, and in India, engineer and MBA. But what is the propensity? That a guru can find 5-6 years of age, they are able to find what is the propensity. This is the stream that they should be trained in. They will be satisfied, they will be productive in the society in this way. So Druva Maharaj had the Kshatriya spirit, and Narad Muni was giving him Brahmanical instructions. He directly said, no, it doesn't work for me. But then Narad Muni told him that you need to, okay. Then he gave him all the instructions of, controlling his breath and, doing certain things and drinking only a little bit of water. Then after some time he gave up water also. Then he gave up, first he gave up eating, only leaves and fruits. Then he gave up water. Then he gave up even air, breathing. And because of that intense tapasya, there was the whole balance of the universe was going topsy-turvy. Because he controlled his breath, so the universal breath was going inside him, but he was just controlling it. And it became topsy-turvy. The demigods got, his pious activities were increasing because of that. And because of that, the demigods became very fearful. They went to Vishnu. They said, please save us again. And Vishnu, that's why he came. But first Vishnu tested. He sent Narad Muni. Is he really, really serious? So when we chant Hare Krishna, we are actually crying, Oh Radharani, please grant us the service attitude. Krishna, please grant us the taste for chanting your holy names. Oh Rama, Balaram, please give us the spiritual strength to be disciplined in our spiritual life. And we are praying for this. So Krishna says, okay, I will give you this, but I want to make sure, are you really serious? Then he'll give some service. And you'll say, oh, you took it too seriously. I can't do all this service. But if we really have some service attitude, that's how it will develop. Or someone will say something and we feel hurt and we say, I won't go to the temple, I won't go to this person's place, or whatever. Or I won't perform in this service. That is a test. Whether are we determined to go ahead with it still, in spite of all these impediments. And it was similar. Narad Muni's, what is his name? Druva Maharaj's heart was broken. And then he was doing all these things, right? There is not much pure devotional service in his motivation. But he was very honest about it. Look, I'm not a pure devotee. Don't even talk to me about all these things. But then when he got the darshan of the Lord, he completely transformed. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akama sarva kamova. Whether you have no desires, sarva kamova, or your heart is full with desires, moksha kama udharadi, or you're desiring liberation, moksha. Tivrena bhakti yogana, in all these circumstances, perform tivrena bhakti yogena, perform bhakti yoga intensely, tivrena bhakti yogena, with one single pointed intensity and attention, yajeta purusham param, by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Utsahan, even Srila Rupa Goswami says in his Upadeshamrita, Utsahan nishtaya dhairya tat tat karma pravartana. Then
Sangatyagat sato vritte.
Sangatyagat sato vritte shadvir
Bhakti
bhaktir prasidhyati. These are 6 things which increase our devotion, which are advantageous to our devotion, which are favorable to devotional service. 6 things which are favorable. Then he says 6 things which are unfavorable. Then he says 6 things that will help loving association amongst devotees. The 6 is a very important number. 6 things which are favorable is Utsahan Nishchaya Dhairya. Enthusiasm, Utsaha. Nishchayat means determination. Like Druva Maharaj, determined. Dhairyat, patience. Tat tat karma pravartana,
doing favorable.
performing different kinds of devotional service. Sangha Tyaga, which means
Giving up association.
giving up association of material things. Tyaga. Sangha Tyaga Sato Vritte. And
Good association.
association with Sato. Sato means devotees, which means truth. Those who are living in the truth, not living in illusion. Associate with those who are Sato Vritte, who are living in the truth, which is devotees who are away from Maya or illusion. But Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya, these are very important. And these three have to be together. If we are only Utsaha, only enthusiastic, but we don't have determination and we don't have patience, what will happen? That is,
More dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous. Because it's, little bit of problem will come, push, enthusiasm will go. Right? We are very, very enthusiastic, but we have no patience. Because, so many years, 10 साल हो गए जप करते हुए, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा. ये क्या बोल रहे हैं? Love of God, ये सब तो हमारा, और मेरा तो बढ़ रहा है और. But sometimes it happens when we are performing bhakti, the anarthas increase, or they appear that suddenly they have increased. And devotees sometimes feel, I was much better before I was chanting. Now I've become much worse. I'm not showing it, but actually all these things are coming up. That's because that means that it's working, the process is working. Because it was all the anartha was, settled down. And now when we are performing devotional service, it's being churned. So all the dirt is coming out and it's seen now. It was there, it was just not seen from millions of lifetimes. But we should continue. If we keep doing it, it'll go away. We should not stop the process, we should not get discouraged from the process. One time, you know about Chinese bamboo, however you say. For when you sow the seeds and you keep watering, right? Watering. First day you water, nothing happens. Second day, nothing. A week goes by, keep watering, nothing happens. Some plants, they start sprouting faster. But this Chinese bamboo, not like that. A month goes by. Sometimes you forget where did you actually put the seeds, because nothing is coming out. Is it even working? But the Chinese farmers, they know. And they mark, this is where it was sown. And they know that it's not going to come so soon. They go on, 1 month goes, 2 months goes, nothing is there. But they keep watering every day. And I don't remember 6 months or 6 years. You have to keep watering without any result. And then suddenly, after that amount of time, in 10 days, it grows 6 feet. Suddenly, boom. And then in a month, it's 10 feet tall. Before that, nothing, zero. What was happening? You know what was happening actually? When it was being watered, the bamboo was growing inside. It was not seen. But in order to sustain that rapid growth in 10 days, it had to grow below. So you don't see it. So similarly, we may be performing devotional service and we are not seeing anything practically outside, if we are being honest with ourselves. Sometimes you see some devotees, every year they progress little bit, right? So that's up to Krishna, how he reciprocates what he feels is best for the devotional service of that particular devotee. Just because it's good for that devotee doesn't mean it has to be good for me. Maybe we are Chinese bamboos. and the other person is mango tree. Right? So everyone is different. There's no point comparing. These 3 C's we should always avoid. Never compare, never criticize, and never complain. If we can do this, then we'll be able to follow Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya. If we compare, comparison is in the mode of ignorance. Everyone has different journeys. We cannot compare our spiritual journey with another person's spiritual journey. We don't know where they are coming from. We don't know where we are coming from. So, some devotees, they progress slowly, steadily. We see their service attitude increases, their taste for chanting the holy name increases, they become more renounced. For some, 10 years nothing, and boom, suddenly they have this realization. Krishna reveals it to them. Their graph is like this, and some people's graph are straight line, or some is curved, some is hyperbola. Everyone has different kinds of graphs, which Krishna decides what is best according to them. And we should be happy seeing others progressing in whatever way they are progressing. As long as we are chanting the holy names, following the process, result is up to Krishna. How he gives, he knows best what is best for me. Maybe for me, if I would grow, on a steady pace, I'll become proud. Krishna knows that, so he doesn't want to give that to me right now. But we have to be very patient. Dhairya. Everyone who was this person, I introduced this person, and now he is becoming much more advanced than me. But we should be happy about it. We should not compare. Sometimes this person was introduced right with me. But dhairya, utsahan, we should still be enthusiastic and patient. And at the same time be determined. If we are patient and not enthusiastic, then what will happen?
Lazy.
Yeah, there are so many lifetimes. This lifetime nahi hua, to agle lifetime mein dekh lenge. There's no enthusiasm, it's just you're very patient. It has to be, along with patience, enthusiasm and determination should also be there. Sometimes we are only determined and patient, but not enthusiastic. Then that service is not pleasing to the Lord, when we are not enthusiastically doing something. One devotee asked Prabhupada, I don't feel enthusiastic in the kirtan sometimes. I'm being very honest with you, I don't feel enthusiastic. What do I do? But I see so many other devotees, they're jumping up and down, and I just feel I just can't do it. So Prabhupada, you know what he said? Anyone?
Artificially done.
He said, act enthusiastic. If you act enthusiastic, enthusiasm will come. If we wait for enthusiasm to come, it will never happen. We first have to engage into that. If I am feeling very bored, chanting, very sleepy, act as if you're so happy. Just smile and act, and then it'll happen. So then we may ask, well, is it not hypocrisy? I'm not feeling like it. And then you're asking me to act as if I'm feeling. This is the definition of hypocrisy. But if we act enthusiastic to show others, that is hypocrisy. Here we are acting enthusiastic to demonstrate to Krishna within our heart that I'm not feeling enthusiastic, my mind is not feeling enthusiastic, but I want to be enthusiastic, and I'm demonstrating it by my action. Then Krishna is pleased and he gives real enthusiasm. Our act of acting enthusiastic is a means of prayer to Krishna to please give me real enthusiasm. Look, I'm trying. I want real enthusiasm. Please give me real determination. So and it's a fact, if we act enthusiastically, then Krishna will give us enthusiasm. So we can try that whenever we are feeling lazy, we are not able to get out of bed. Just do it. Just do it anyways. Even don't worry about what our mind is saying. If we just still do it with a prayer that I'm not feeling like it, Krishna, but I'm still doing it because I really want it, then Krishna will give it. But of course, if we do it to show others and all of that, and we really don't have the real desire to pray to Krishna to get it, that is hypocrisy, that won't go long. Even if no one is there, we should just act enthusiastically. Enthusiasm, patience, determination. All three Druva Maharaj had. He was very enthusiastic to perform. He was told you have to take your breath, control your breath. And he said, I will do whatever is needed. Enthusiastically, no questions asked. Very determined. If anyone comes, determination means anyone comes, I will still, any impediment comes, I'm not giving up. That's determination. Enthusiasm, determination and patience. And I'm ready to do this enthusiastically and with determination till the end of time. My graph may be like this and maybe next lifetime it will go up. This lifetime, no progress, it's okay. I will still continuously keep doing enthusiastically and with determination. Of course, with Srila Prabhupada's mercy and Lord Chaitanya's mercy, in this one lifetime, they have given us the opportunity to perfect it. In one lifetime, we can do it. But still, that should not be our expectation. One time, this Mukunda, Lord Chaitanya was giving his Mahaprakash Leela, where he would call all the devotees and then just fulfill their spiritual desires. And all devotees who would come, they would ask not for themselves but for others. And someone will ask, please make my parents devotees, please make this my friend devotee, please do this, please do so many things. But they would not ask for themselves, but they'd ask for others and they would feel happy. And then Lord Chaitanya would just give whatever. One devotee her name was Sukhi, and he said, Dukhi. He said, your name will be Sukhi now. And she became completely happy. And but then one devotee was there, Mukunda. And all devotees asked Lord Chaitanya that, my dear Lord, you've fulfilled the desires of everyone except Mukunda. Mukunda is standing outside the door. He's very shy. Shall we bring him? And Lord Chaitanya, his lips started quivering. He started shivering and his eyes became really big, and in a loud voice he said, I don't like Mukunda. Don't bring him here. If you bring Mukunda here, I'll destroy the universe. And everyone was shocked. What? Lord Chaitanya, you were someone else, and now you're someone else. You're Nrsingadev now. And he said, what happened? This Mukunda, he associates with devotees, and then he goes and associates with Mayavadis. And he nods his head even in their sabha. It's almost like paying obeisances to me and then come and hit me on my head. So, I won't allow this. And so, all the devotees were broken-hearted for Mukunda. They went to Mukunda. Mukunda was crying when he heard this, and all the devotees were consoling, still don't worry, there is, So Mukunda said, I deserve much worse, I understand, but can you please ask the Lord, when will I get the mercy? So all the devotees immediately ran in. He's asking, when will he get your mercy? Is there some time he will get? He said he will get after 10,000 lifetimes. And so all the devotees were like, 10,000 lifetimes? Not even years, it's that many lifetimes. Who knows where all will be, what will happen, which life form he'll be in. Anyway, devotees didn't want to argue with Lord Chaitanya at that time. They went and they told Mukunda, he said, did the Lord say how much, how long? He said, no one was willing to say because they know he'll become, as it is he's crying and then he'll become more depressed. And so they said, one devotee came and said, my dear Mukunda, we're very sorry to say that he said 10,000 lifetimes. And Mukunda started jumping and dancing. I will see! I will see! And then he said, everyone was like, what? Wait, I think you didn't hear properly. It's 10,000 lifetimes. He said, yes! After 10,000 lifetimes I will see Lord Chaitanya, I will get the mercy. I was expecting I will never get. But now Lord Chaitanya has said 10,000 lifetimes. I have some hope. And he became so enthusiastic. And all the devotees didn't know whether to cry or laugh or to celebrate with him or to do what. And then they went back and Lord Chaitanya, being the Paramatma in everyone's heart, he understood the mood of Mukunda. And so when devotees went in, Lord Chaitanya said, call him back, call him in. And Mukunda came and Lord Chaitanya gave him his mercy. He put his he paid obeisances and Lord Chaitanya put his lotus feet on his head. Jai Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. And he was going to get after 10,000 lifetimes, but because of this enthusiastic and patient attitude, Lord Chaitanya was immediately pleased. If he would have said 10,000, I've given so much donation, I've done so much service, I'm one of the best devotees just because I attended one time, sometimes I go just out of curiosity. I'm not actually agreeing with them, I just go out of curiosity. And uske liye itna bada saza, what is this? So unfair. Right? That's why, imagine us in that position. Sometimes we are already in that position sometimes, and we, instead of being grateful, instead of being enthusiastic more, thinking that I deserve worse, we think this is total injustice. Look how that devotee, I know where all he goes. He even drinks alcohol. And Lord Chaitanya gave him mercy. I am at least not doing all those sinful activities. I am going into another spiritual gathering only. And look, so much partiality. He's not comparing. He's not complaining. He's not criticizing. He's just being grateful, thankful, enthusiastic about it. And because of this attitude, Lord Chaitanya gave him mercy immediately. So whenever we are in this kind of a situation, we should chant the holy names and all of these things are there, but these peripheral attitudes and mood is constantly being monitored by Krishna. What is the mood in which we are trying to do? Are we trying to do it in a service attitude? Or is there some pride coming in? And Krishna will take care of all these things as long as we are in the association of devotees. But we should know how to reciprocate and react when these reversals come in our lives. How to react in a way that will please Krishna. It's not about how to react in a way to show the other person who you are, who I am, or how great I am. But it's to show Krishna. It has nothing to do with the person who did this to us. It's between us and Krishna. Krishna is seeing how we are reacting. Then he will give accordingly. Alright? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
What happens to Druva Maharaj after he meets the Lord?
That is very interesting. After he meets the Lord actually, then he gives prayer, then he chants some prayers, and then after that, Vishnu says that you have that you will get your kingdoms for your kingdom of your father for the next 36,000 years. You will be in the kingdom of your father, because at that time they would live for 100,000 years. So they said 36,000 years you'll rule. After that, you will go to Pole Star. Pole Star is the Dhruva is the planet where no one has ruled so far. It's the only planet which doesn't get destroyed when the material world is destroyed. So he said, and then he said, after that, my dear Druva, I shall award you the glowing planet known as Pole Star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of the millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by all the solar systems, planets and stars. You have executed pious vows. I also know the desire within your heart. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I will favor you. All good fortune to you. After your father goes to the forest and awards you the rule of his kingdom, you will rule continuously the entire world for 36,000 years. And all your senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. You will never become old. Okay? So he is giving material desire also, along with spiritual. Sometime in the future, your brother Uttama will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed in hunting, he will be killed. Your stepmother Suruchi, being maddened upon the death of her son, will go to search him out in the forest, but she will be devoured by the forest fire. So, here Prabhupada in the purport writes about insulting Vaishnava. Even if we insult, Prabhupada says, not just a Vaishnava, anyone, he said. Not only should we, he said, from this we should take a lesson that we should never try to insult a Vaishnava. Not only should we not insult a Vaishnava, but we should not insult anyone unnecessarily. Does it mean necessarily? What Prabhupada says, sometimes we have to, we don't want to, but maybe, sometimes if we are in a position, we have to do it. But because not only should we insult a Vaishnava, in some place it said, Harinam Chintamani, in the criticism, he said we should not criticize a devotee and not anyone else. Because if in future they become devotee, that's still a Vaishnava aparadh. Druva Maharaj was not a devotee at that point. In future he became devotee. So now it became Vaishnava aparadh. And eventually everyone is going to become a devotee of Lord Chaitanya by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So yes, we should specifically not criticize, insult Vaishnavas, but anyone. Sometimes we say if someone is a new devotee, we can do something, we can do whatever, he's a new devotee, junior devotee. No, that is also Vaishnava aparadh. So we should be very careful. Sometimes in management, we may have, this question was asked to Guru Maharaj, that in management sometimes we have to take a tough stance against a particular individual, and that may break his heart, be insulting sometimes for the greater good. So how do we do it? Does the devotees in management, do they get Vaishnava aparadh? Then they'll fall down. Then no one wants to take up management services. So Guru Maharaj said, well, we should not like to do that. For the greater good of the community, we may have to do this, but it should not be that through that we are taking out our vengeance against someone. Then it becomes Vaishnava aparadh. But we are not wanting, we are not liking to do it, but we have to do it because as a duty or as something for the benefit of the greater good, then Krishna will protect. But so we should first forgive that person within our heart. First. Then come to discuss what should be the proper punishment for a particular person or whatever proper thing that needs to be done, how it needs to be dealt with. Because if we have not forgiven first, we will be influenced by that grudge. But once we have forgiven, then now we will see in a very unbiased way what is best for the community. Then whatever be the thing, you're doing it not out of personal thing, but out of service to other devotees. Then you may be protected. But here, as a rule, generally, these are exceptions. But as a rule, we should, if we are not in a position of authority, then just always glorify others. Look for good qualities in others. That's the bottom line. If someone is a guru, they may have to train the disciples, so they may look at bad qualities to try to remove them. That's as a service Guru does. But if we are not in that position of either guru or instructing someone or whatever, we should just look at their good qualities. That's it. So this is what happened. And then it says, when Druva Maharaj left, it says he was very disheartened. In one of the verses he says that he was, despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Druva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus he returned home. In that state he returned home. So next question Vidura asked, why was he not pleased? He did everything nice and now he got the mercy of the Lord. So Maitreya said that Druva Maharaj's heart, which was pierced by the arrows of the harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly aggrieved, and thus when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from material world, but at the end of devotional service, when the Lord appeared, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind. So now he was completely transformed. He did not have a grudge against in fact, he felt ashamed that he had a grudge. That's why he went back displeased with himself. That, what was I doing? Why was I doing all these things? It doesn't even matter in that mood.
So Dhruva Maharaj never got liberated?
No, he got
liberated.
after 36,000 years, after his father left his body, then he gave the kingdom to Druva Maharaj, that he ruled for 36,000 years. And after that, when he was, I think on a battlefield or something, when he left his body, he said, wait, the Vishnu Dutas came with a plane. And they said, please come. We've been sent by Vishnu. And he said, wait. I first want to make sure that my guru has the plane. He said, who's your guru? He said, my mother. Because she was the first one who told me, although she didn't know the details, but she put me on the right path. Go seek Vishnu. So she was my Vartma Pradarshak Guru. Narad Muni was my Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. So he was still grateful at the end of his life. He was like, oh, I got liberated, he's not dancing and he's going. He is still remembering all those people who helped him in his spiritual life. He wanted to make sure are they going, otherwise I'm not going to step on this plane. The plane is right there, purpose of his life. Then Vishnu Dutta said, that's already been taken care of.
There's a picture also in the book.
Yeah.
I don't
know if there is.
In the beginning, the mother is there.
So his mother is already going on a plane. Then he stepped on the plane and then he was taken to the pole star.
So pole star is part of a spiritual world?
It's like an embassy of the spiritual world. Like here there is Indian embassy where rules of India apply.
Right.
But it is within USA. But it's kind of an island. USA rules may not apply there. in that embassy.
So Dhruva Maharaj still resides there.
Yeah, he still resides there. It never. He said it will never be dissoluted.
So he took the plane to Polestar or to Vaikuntha Loka?
I'm not sure about that, but ultimately he's in Polestar. I don't know whether he had a stop in the Vaikuntha, then he came, but he is in the Polestar. Because Polestar, he said, is a place where I shall award you the glowing planet known as the Pole Star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of the millennium. Keeping the pole